Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 8th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Work went well. We were pretty slow. I enjoy a nice slow day. No complaints. Let's see here. Stomach felt a lot better today, so that was good. Speaking of my tummy rumbly, Food Corner. Food Corner was a classic staple. No weird additions, no fried cornbread. I just had pasta bolognese and a salad and some bread. I had a bagel and a bolillo roll, so it was very yummy. I guess you could say the weird thing was the bagel was a cinnamon raisin bagel. I know that doesn't make any sense, but at this point, I think you guys are pretty prepared, guys, gals, MBs. Y'all know what I be eating. It's whatever. But yeah, no. Overall, it turned out well. It felt good that like I wasn't like I've been having this issue, so it just kind of happens sometimes where it's like, oh, this was too much food. I can't finish it, and I'm bummed that I wasted it, or like I eat too much and then like I feel engorged, so that sucks. Um, but this was like it was a Goldilocks meal. It just hit the spot. It felt good, so that was nice. Let's see here. Also, the job treated me to some popcorn. I don't know if I've mentioned this. I probably have offhand, but maybe not the details. But we literally like I think about once a month usually. We will have like there's someone on like they have like a little committee or something that does events, and they will have people throughout the day in that committee make us popcorn. So they have like a popcorn maker, and they'll just crank out popcorn all day, and that's our treat for the day to keep us online and on track. No, I don't know. You know how it is. You know treat culture in warehouses. I mean, probably any job. I mean, I'm sure at your local fucking office job, they've lulled you with a pizza party from somewhere. Hopefully it was good. Oh man, I've heard some of my friends they get crazy shit like good. I have gotten a good ass Chick-fil-A cater before. That was nice. But like, imagine getting that like all the time. Like I've had friends who are like, yeah, dude, I have to like turn down the Jersey Mike's. I have to turn down the Chick-fil-A because I'm watching my figure. And I'm like, man, go fuck yourself. Just get fat, dude. What do you have to live for? You're not gonna be fucking Chris Hemsworth. I might as well, right? That's what I'm saying. That's me. Anyway, let's see here. We've yapped about myself enough. I think I have a pretty loaded episode today, but hopefully, we can just hop, skip, and jump through it. But before we get into the action, let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll get into some news. Ooh. All right. Our first story comes from Democracy Now! Cousin of Rabbi Mir Khan, or Kahane, I'm going to say Khan, arrested after driving into pro-Palestinian protest in NYC. One thing I definitely wanted to note, this was a harder story to fucking find, and like shame on the goddamn news media for that shit, because for literally weeks now they have been covering these protests, all of the violence that they could find, and anything that they could scrape up to say, hey, look at how bad and look at all the unrest here. It has been hard as fuck for me to find a story where there was literally a Zionist fucking protester who came out and just like, I'm gonna run through this crowd with a car, and it's been hard as hell to find that story. You know what I mean? So shame on news media for that. I shouldn't have to dig for these kind of stories when they're literally frothing at the mouth to like cover college kids in on a campus college with some tents, trying to like fucking tell you guys to be like, hey, just look at Gaza, just look at what's going on over there. But here in New York, a local real estate developer was arrested after driving his car into a crowd of pro-Palestinian protesters who had gathered outside the home of a Columbia University trustee. The driver had been identified as Reuven Khan. He is a cousin of the late extremist Jewish rabbi Meir Khan, who publicly advocated for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Mir Khan served one term in Israel's Knesset before he was convicted of acts of terrorism. So, I mean, apparently, I guess it's ganging them for that shit. And he was like, yeah, I'm carrying on the fucking legacy and I'm going to ride through this crowd like it's fucking Charlotte or some shit. If you know, you know. That's in reference to a protest that happened in the past where that got plenty of fucking coverage. And once again, it's just crazy. And don't get me wrong, I get it. You have Biden and he's, doing speeches on podiums about how, like, anti-Semitism is on the rise. I see it. I see it online. I know for a fact that is true, unfortunately. That's a fucking shame. But something I keep I keep noticing is that throughout all this shit, like, the Islamophobia is at an all-time high, and like there's just barely any talk about it outside of the Arab community having to come out and say, like, look, dude, like, we feel voiceless in this situation. You know what I mean? No one's really fighting for us. No one's really speaking the fuck up. And there's a whole ass fucking war going on, and it's been going on, and no one cares, And it's very frustrating, you know what I'm saying? And once again, I do not want to sit here and say, like, oh, anti-Semitism doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? No, that is important. But it's crazy to me that it's just the only talking point that's filling up the room from, our goddamn administration. Yet, he wants us to make sure that, we vote for him in November. But speaking of, more things going on, let's see that the Biden administration is doing from Politico. I want just to read this real quick if it loads for me. Progressives cheer Biden's Israel weapons pause while Republicans fume. Progressives in Congress hailed the administration's pause on a shipment of bombs to Israel, with some crediting the pressure Democrats placed on President Joe Biden, to get Israel to change the way it's waging war in Gaza. So, of course, Republicans mad, whatever. But to me, this is yet again just kind of talking about Biden trying to save fucking face here. It's like we are backing Israel to the hilt. We are giving them guns. We are giving them all kinds of ammunition. We are giving them bombs to just blow up people, to just do an ethnic cleansing. And the best we can come up with here is, we did a pause that is going to last shorter than the last fucking temporary ceasefire we had, most likely, I'm guessing. So what are we really doing? Like, what is really being accomplished by the Biden administration here that is actually helping these Palestinian people? Once again, you see all the help that he's doing for Israel. He is preaching that shit to the mountaintops. Once again, we are backing them to the hilt. There's no question there. But meanwhile, we're working on a goddamn pier, a little jetty so that we can get them maybe a crumb of aid. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. So, I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm fuming. I'm mad. I'm with the hoes. Hoes mad, okay? I'll say it. God damn it. We're scared and we're mad. All right. We still got to talk about Biden administration shit, technically. Because, old Joe, he signed off on this fucking bill. From the Associated Press, TikTok sues U.S. to block law that could ban the social media platform. I'm not going to dwell on this too long. TikTok and its Chinese parent company filed a lawsuit Tuesday challenging a new American law that would ban the popular video sharing app in the United States unless it's sold to an approved buyer, saying it unfairly singles out the platform and is an unprecedented attack on free speech. We'll see how this goes. I really don't want to get into the weeds about it, just because this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. We already know we have the 9 months to the year before the bill actually comes into play. I don't know exactly how this lawsuit's going to work in terms of, like, pausing the timing or not. But let's say it goes in favor. It doesn't matter. Like, if it goes in favor of ByteDance and they win and they get to keep TikTok, okay, cool. Or Biden and, the Republicans and the Democrats who got together to make this shit all happen. Ban this CCP app that is also pro-Palestine and we hate that. Ew, it's so annoying. Oh, God damn it, it's corrupting the young people. Okay, let's say they win. It doesn't matter. No matter what, this is most likely going to the Supreme Court. So, like, I don't really feel like dwelling too much here, getting in the weeds. By all means, you can get the details, look at it, maybe learn a TikTok dance along the way. Hopefully, that'd be cool. They don't teach you anything in here. I read it, but, I don't want to get too lost on it. But it is happening. We talked about it a little bit before. But yeah, let's speaking of online shit, things that are happening. Let's go to UK. We got a UK thing going on. A little bit of China going on. So there you go. Let's call it a segue. From Reuters, malign actor hacked UK Defense Ministry payroll. Sunak says after China reports. A malign actor has probably compromised the payment system used by the British military. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said on Tuesday after reports that China had hacked into a database holding personal information of the armed forces. The BBC and other media reported that China had been behind the cyber attack on the payroll system used by Britain's Britain's Ministry of Defense, or MOD, containing names and bank details of those serving in the Royal Navy, Army, and the Royal Air Force. Beijing has rejected any involvement, describing it as a smear for political ends. So yeah, I mean, obviously that's a little bit scary, I imagine, and you wind up saying, oh, so someone has my information, my data, like, and it's not just any kind of data or whatever. It's not like, oh, my favorite thing, or a little picture of me on Facebook, like my bank details. That would be pretty scary. That's a little unsettling, right? I mean, you don't know if they're actually going to wind up using it for anything nefarious or whatever, but that's still very unsettling to have that information out in the ether. Now, UK, Rishi Sunak and everyone, they're saying, hey, we got this under control. We are managing the situation. I think they're also playing it close to the chest. I don't even think that they actually are trying to say, oh, it's China. Like, they aren't actually commenting on it directly. But, they are trying to make sure that they are shoring up, their digital infrastructure, I guess you could say there. Obviously, this is a situation that's not going to be good for China-UK relations. Also, I'm using this as a segue because I feel like we've talked about this enough now. I know that Xi Jinping has kind of been on a little bit of a European tour. And usually I do talk about those kind of things. I don't know. I felt like I've been kind of bogged down with some other news, so I really didn't get to it. But I'm kind of talking about it now. So there you go. I know he went to France, schmoozed with President Macron or whatever. Boo, we hate him. I don't like him. I think they tried to ply him with some cognac or something. They got a lot of deals. Obviously, China's got a lot of deals in the works. So a lot of people have to really come to the table with China, whether they like China or not, because it's like, look, dude, we are business partners. We are business partners for like life. It's looking like the way you like our shit and we like your shit. Okay. I know he went to like another country too, and they had some like talks about how like they didn't like NATO, which I was like, okay, all right, go off, King Twin. But yeah, that's been happening. I know I should be giving you better news there, but like, it's like a Biden tour. I cover that when I feel the need to, but I feel less inclined to cover it these days, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's better things to cover. So yeah, let's talk base. Yeah, you know what? There are better things to cover, like America's favorite pastime, baseball. So me, big baseball enjoyer. I've been glued to my seat with this Shohei Ohtani story. A classic baseball story of gambling intrigue. Yeah, all right. You know we're back on it. A little bit of an update I wanted to cover from Yahoo Sports. Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter Ippei Mizuhara agrees to plead guilty to 2 charges in gambling scandal. Let's see. Ippei Mizuhara agreed Wednesday to plead guilty to a pair of charges in connection with the gambling scandal involving Los Angeles Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani. Mizuhara, who was Ohtani's longtime interpreter, was arrested earlier this spring in a massive and complicated scandal that left him facing up to 30 years in prison. Mizuhara allegedly stole nearly $17 million from Ohtani to cover Mizuhara's illegal gambling debts or gambling losses, which totaled more than $40 million. So clearly he was not winning. And I know that there's been this big kerfuffle, like, is this really Mizuhara who is doing this? Was he really doing it for Ohtani? We may never know the exact details on that. But I did want to read this passage that kind of made me think, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so conspiratorial. Maybe I shouldn't just be leaning into, what my friends are saying and thinking. And because I don't get me wrong, I will take my friends' experience on this shit because they know about sports way more than I ever will. I don't really give a shit to pay attention anymore about that shit. I really wasn't that interested. But that being said, it's still a lot of intrigue, and I think we all can be a bit conspiratorial, right? And we all want to lean towards that more than maybe what the Occam's razor is or whatever. Like the most likely thing is probably what happened. No, like so. I wanted to read this section, and we'll do a little bit more discourse. Mizuhara reportedly transferred weekly $500,000 payments. I don't know why I said that so weird. $500,000 payments into the account of an associate of Matthew Boyer, who is under investigation. That associate then transferred the money into accounts with Resorts World, a Las Vegas casino, and Pinchaga Resort Casino in Temecula, California. The scandal is reportedly part of a much larger operation, which 12 people have already been charged and convicted, and multiple casinos have paid fines. That wasn't the thing I needed to find. I lost my highlighted portion. But what I was trying to cover was the fact that Mizuhara, had full access to Shohei Ohtani's, account. He helped him make the account. He then later goes and says, hey, I'm going to change your name on the account into my name. And, I mean, granted, the knowledge of these kind of things don't necessarily, free him. Oh, I found it. Okay. Mizuhara was Ohtani's financial point person beginning when the star moved to the United States in 2018. Mizuhara reportedly helped Ohtani set up a bank account, and he impersonated Ohtani and later changed information in order to start funneling money from the account. Ohtani's agent reportedly talked to him exclusively through Mizuhara too. So it's one of those things where I feel like there is enough evidence here that points to Mizuhara making moves, and even to the moment when he was first presented, he was like, oh no, Ohtani knew, he was okay with it, but then they actually press this a little bit further, and it's no, he didn't know. So it makes sense, once again, to be conspiratorial and go, oh, maybe this is Shohei Ohtani using Mizuhara as his shadow broker or whatever, his middleman, his bad guy, to, do his gambling for him, and now he's taking the fall. Maybe solely so. We won't never know 100%, but there is enough evidence here that points in the direction that goes, okay, Mizuhara had a lot of leeway here, and no one was really checking on him. And, I mean, to me, I've listened and watched a lot of scams. I've seen a lot of them, at least via the podcast, via TV show, what have you. So, I mean, this fits that description, right? You have a lot of power, and you think, you know what? He's not going to notice it. He's not going to miss it. What's a few $1 million, whatever. And I'm going to make so much more. This is gambler logic. I've seen it happen, sadly. And sadly, he did not do that. But he was right in the sense of Shohei Ohtani didn't notice, right? I mean, then again, maybe he did. Maybe this was a ruse all along. We will never know. But that being said, I will probably cover the story again when we get to the sentencing. I don't think I really need to cover him actually pleading guilty if he's pleading guilty here and we know it now. Okay, cool, hunky-dory. But, just wanted to riff on this a little bit. I feel like this was a relevant enough development that tips me back into the, I don't know camp, Maybe this was Mizuhara all him, Maybe Ohtani wasn't on his Pete Rose shit. We don't know. Maybe we'll never know. But, I'm open to speculation. I'm down to chop it up, okay? All right, we have one more thing I wanted to cover before I let you go. So let's go ahead and, recharge and, with a little break. And then we'll go ahead and finish this out, okay? It's the end of a thing, And not just this podcast episode, okay? Actually, before I get into this story, I want to talk about a gripe I have. I hate when content creators, and I feel like this is a very YouTube built thing where you go, you promote an episode or a thing like this is my last episode, or this is our last episode, this is our last thing, and it's not. Like, don't do that. That's very cringe. I hate that shit. Like, oh, we're doing it for a bit. Like, you don't need the clicks that bad. I just find it very irritating. It's a pet peeve. You know, I know it's a random thing, but like here at this podcast, I will never be like, hey, the podcast is ending. Unless I'm ending it. Like, that's so, don't do that. Icky. Anyway, sorry. From NBC News, Panera says it's phasing out its controversial charged lemonade nationwide. They're killing it. They're killing the charged lemonade. They came for our charged lemonade, and I said nothing. No. A Panera Bread spokesperson says the restaurant chain is phasing out its charged lemonade, a highly caffeinated beverage that has been blamed for at least 2 deaths in lawsuits. The beverages prompted controversy in October following a lawsuit followed by the family of 21-year-old Sarah Katz, a University of Pennsylvania student with a heart condition who died after consuming charged lemonade. A second lawsuit was filed in December by the family of Dennis Brown, a Florida man with a chromosomal deficiency disorder and a developmental delay, who also died after drinking a charged lemonade. A third lawsuit was filed in January by Lauren Scurrett, a 28-year-old Rhode Island woman, which claimed the beverage left her with permanent cardiac injuries. So I didn't know about the Lauren Scurrett situation, but I guess that was literally the straw that broke the camel's back here. You know what I mean? Now they say that they're phasing it out. I think it's supposed to start within like 2 weeks. Not even like all the like Panera's even like I think we're super aware about this. It kind of like came like out memo style or whatever. We've talked about this story before. A couple times. There's been a couple deaths. Excuse me. I'm not. Excuse me. Gosh. Oh, I'm burping up. I am surprised and I'm not. Like, I'm surprised it took 3 lawsuits to do it. I figured by 2, that would have been enough. But I guess it kind of goes to show that the breakage was high enough for Panera to be like, it's not that bad. It's not that worrisome for us. And then the third was like, okay, we're done. We're done going to court over this shit. Let's just try to fucking get rid of this shit and like move on. So they're saying that, hey, we listen to customers and we're gonna have a new menu, and they made sure to reference that like it's gonna have some low caffeine and low sugar options. Now one thing that was being talked about and discussed, is that the labeling on the charged lemonade was very deceptive. That it wasn't telling people like how much caffeine was in it. Like there was like 300 milligrams. That was like a hell of a fuck ton. I think it's like even more than you're getting in like energy drinks or some shit. But the thing is though, to me, this is kind of hard to gauge because I've had one before. I liked it. I like lemonade. I love caffeine. So, and also it doesn't really affect me in a way that makes me like, it doesn't make me hyperactive. I get maybe jittery. I'm going to have to maybe use a bathroom. But like overall, I'm fine. It kind of steadies me up in a way that I like. And since I have a lack of sleep, caffeine's a good friend to me. It's a nice aid. But I mean, if literally if caffeine's like a sensitive issue for you, it is crazy that it's not readily available information. I do get that. Also in this day and age, I guess it could be argued that it's like, well, couldn't you just easily look that up and then know? And I don't know, maybe that's the kind of logic that Panera was kind of leaning on and hoping. And I also almost think too, cause I don't know about you hearing the news that like, oh, they're phasing out the Panera charged lemonade. I had the addict logic of like, ooh, maybe I should go get that shit one more time, let me get one more go, before it's gone. Which is addict logic. It's fiend talk. But, like I said, baby likes his caffeine. So I didn't go. I haven't gone. But I'm trying to save money a little bit, Is it really worth it to go to Panera? Not really. I can make a sandwich at home and save myself like probably $10. That being said, it seems like this is the end of times, at least for, the charged lemonade. Granted, I'm more of a green tea guy when I go to Panera, I like the green tea. It's pretty good. But yeah, maybe no more charged lemonade. So this is your warning. You got maybe like a couple weeks tops. They might already be out. But figured we'd go ahead and close out with that. And like I said, I didn't even know that there was another person that had permanent cardiac injuries. So that's heavy. That's heavy duty. But yeah, we'll call it an episode there. I feel good about it. We've yapped enough. Let's see here. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, send feedback, yap back at me, if you will. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast and any of the socials. Contact me there as well. I'm terminally online, so, I'll be there. Let's see here. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Trying to get to 69. Trying to make that nice number there. And, I'm trying to get the plays up. And that's just happening. And I love that. I'm so thankful for y'all just tuning in and listening. I know there's not a ton of y'all, and I don't mind that. Jesus had 12, and I'm sitting at about 5 to 10. Hey, hopefully no Judas Iscariot, you feel me? No, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm just happy to have someone on the other end listening. I really do appreciate that. It means the world to me. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.